Lusternia, Age of Ascension presents Ask Estarra.
Welcome back to Ask Estarra. So we've just released the Skill Flex system. Everyone seems to be really excited about it and happy about it. And thank you, Rourke, for getting that done so much faster than I thought it would happen. And there's the more magic skill set, which people seem to like. We just have the low magic and high magic, no general magic. And we're not going to be consolidating any more skill sets for those who are asking on the forums. But we did get some video questions, and I said I'll respond to the video questions, and here we go. Who's up first?
Hello, Estarra. Since I am my own alt-brigade, I'm going to go ahead and just introduce myself as Eritan. Cavalry seems to have the geography aspects covered, so I'm going to ask a couple questions about history and lore.
Wow, I like how your voice is out of sync with your lips. That must be quite a trick. And I love history questions, so go right ahead.
First, of the splintered races that we know of that aren't currently playable, do you have plans to make any of them playable races?
Are there going to be any more splintered races? Are we going to release any more races? And the answer is no. The splintered races that we know about that aren't player races are the centaurs. And if you watched Rourke's webcast, there are logistic reasons why we're not going to do it. That's because of the horses behind. And there's the gnomes, and we're not going to do that. I think it's a little bit redundant. We have dwarves, we have furrykin. I'm not sure if it's necessary to have another race of little people. And for those of you who quest a lot, you know there's the extinct race of the song people, and no, we're not going to bring them back. They're extinct. So the answer is no, there's no more plans for any more player races. So sorry.
How does splintering work anyway?
How does splintering work? That's a good question, and it may be more explored more in the Elder Wars history. But we can just say it's a splintering of consciousness. As one's consciousness splinters, you lose your individuality, and then each splinter has to reform and individuate and become their own divine spark. So that's a cosmogenesis in Lusternia. That makes sense? Probably doesn't make sense. There you go.
We've seen a lot of the history books that have been written from the perspective of current and splintered elder gods, but are we going to be seeing any of them that are from the perspective of any of the traitor gods or any of the soulist gods?
The answer is no. There's not going to be any books from the perspective of the traitor gods or the soulist gods. The traitor gods are going to be open for admin players. If they want to write their own stories or books, there's no limit to that. But I'm not going to write any books from their perspective. For the soulist gods, if you look in the Undervault, there is sort of a stream of consciousness story from Illith's perspective, so you're welcome to look that up, and that's as close as we'll get to the point of view of the soulists. At least, that's what I'm saying now. Who knows what the future's going to bring, but there's certainly no plans.
Are we going to be seeing any more history books from the Vernal Wars?
The Vernal Wars. In the back of my mind, I sometimes think maybe we'll do a book for each of the Vernal gods after we finish the Elder Wars. But I'm not, that's way off in the future, and we're doing so slowly on the Elder Wars, who knows. But yeah, I would like to do a book for each of the Vernal gods and get rid of the history that we have there and rebuild it. So keep your fingers crossed.
Will we be seeing any other couplings in the divine pantheon? Any divine mates that we don't know about yet?
That's a interesting question. There's no plans for more couplings, interesting term, between the elder gods. I'll leave that for the future to tell. When I write the Elder Wars, it's sort of an evolving process. Has a lot to do with the current admin, if they're planning on having a god that we've never seen before. I try to weave that into the story. Kalakai is a perfect example of that. I didn't have a plan for a Kalakai, but the admin who was graduating to be a full god developed that character with me, and that's how she got included. So, maybe. Okay, any other questions? Anyone else?
Hello, I'm HP. I've been playing Lusternia for just about 4 years or 5. Nobody seems to remember when it first came out, so hi.
Interesting voice you have. Interesting accent. Go right ahead. What's your question?
Number 1. Why is the moon in the sky 24/7? And will Lusternians ever develop space travel to get there?
You're asking why the moon is up there as opposed to... See, there's this thing called gravity. And so it orbits around Mother Moon. Why do you stay up in the sky?
Look at me! Just look at me! I am round. I have no feet. If I wasn't up in the sky, I'd be on the ground, and I would roll around.
To answer the second part of your question, will there ever be space travel? We have aethership travel, and you can travel in aether space to the sphere of Mother Moon. So there's really no reason to go beyond aether space travel.
Number 3. What is your favorite area in the basin and why?
My favorite area in the basin is actually Stewartsville, because that was one of the first areas we created, and I really enjoyed creating that quest, and I think it's a unique quest with using the logic puzzle and having it inspired by the fun game of Clue. So mostly for the quest, I really enjoyed Stewartsville, and I still use it as an example of how to do a dynamic quest.
Question 3. How do you get along with the other divine?
I assume you're asking Estarra and not me. Estarra?
The divine and Lusternia get along very, very well. Don't we, gods?
I am A of the Red Mask. Note, the Red Mask. I would say that we get along quite well in the basin of light. Except for Lucernia. She does not bathe as often as we would like. In fact, she can kiss my red.
Beans and lollipops and angels and unicorns. These are all the wonderful things that the gods in the Haven enjoy. Except for Aventru. He seems to be obsessed with food. I just want to say, guys, that in the fridge, the stuff on the top shelf on the left is my stuff. Now, I know someone got my breakfast burrito, and I know who it is, because only one person gets the munchies all the time. And that's... But dude, I get the munchies sometimes. I can't help it. And besides, I'm not the only one that takes other people's stuff. Like someone took my stash of cactus weed. Now, who could do such a thing? That stuff is expensive, man.
Raining men! Hallelujah, it's raining men!
I think it's time to go. Bye.